unedited, right?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Your voice is
You're
breaking.
listening to Underground Radio. Welcome to the 100th Monkey Experiment, presented by the Dream Society. Be the 100th monkey. Be the change in the world. So we have some interesting topics tonight to discuss. The power of words, power versus force, self-effort versus grace. Do you believe in grace? These are all some of the topics we'll be discussing tonight. So we're going to start off with the power of words. I'm going to read a little excerpt from the book Power and Force. Many of you may have heard of this book, Power versus Force. So here's some words that were borrowed from the book, and they resonate with a high vibration. Words like neutrality, enabling, satisfactory, trust, release, willingness, inspiring, hopeful, optimism, intention, acceptance, merciful, harmonious, forgiveness, transcendent, reason, wise, meaningful, understanding, abstraction, love, loving, benign, gentle, compassion, reverence, revelation, joy, one, complete, serenity, transfiguration, peace, all being, perfect, bliss, illumination, enlightenment, self is ineffable and pure consciousness. So these words bring you to the highest vibration, help us vibrate at a higher frequency. So I'm going to ask the first question, very basic question. Do you believe that certain words have power, and negative versus positive? Who would like to go first? Anybody?
Go for it. Go for it, Jeff.
Jeff's the pro at this. Okay. First up, we have Jeff. Would you like to just say your name and...
Hi, I'm Jeff. And I guess I've been chosen to go first. And the question again was...
Do you believe in the power of words? Do you choose your words carefully?
I do now. I try to, because I've chosen a lot of bad words before. And it does get you into a lot of trouble. So your words definitely matter. I liked listening to the words that you read in the introduction. And I was wondering why would they be so powerful. And from what I was getting is the picture of a lot of those words are not a finite thing, like a tree or a rock. Those are physical things, easy to picture. But when you started mentioning a lot of those other words that you had, those were all conceptual words, where you have to put person, places, and things all together to create a lot of those entities. And so yeah, they make you think. And you know, utilizing words can be very powerful for anybody, and to help people grow. If you have a good vocabulary, you actually can grow in a lot of ways. And the people that aren't educated enough, that don't have enough ideas on what to do with themselves, they probably don't have enough words to put into ideas. And trying to get yourself to a higher level, you really have to have unique thoughts that you can't describe by a tree or a bush. You actually have to go in beyond the physical realm into more of the inner workings of your mind, and allow those words to describe those kind of situations. So yeah, there's some power to them if you focus on it, and it's something that I'm still learning myself. So I don't have a lot of those big words in my vocabulary all the time, which I should, because it definitely puts you in a different state when you hear them or say them. Some of them you were talking about, besides love, everyone always has a lot of concept with that, but you mentioned oneness and some other things that now I can't remember because I don't have the list in front of me, but there's some really good things that make you want to think and put yourself into a different light, and hopefully that's one of the things that we're doing here in the show, is to hear what other people's words are and see what their thoughts and ideas are based on their own experiences. So we'll hear some hopefully some of these words come out to help other people. And that's what we're here for. So that's about as far as I can get on that thought for now.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joyce. The power of words, absolutely. They say sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. That is so very untrue. Words and the meaning and emotion behind them when thrown at somebody, especially loved ones, can cut deep, stick with you emotionally, and you carry that with you. Any kind of positive reinforcement, and of course we use words for that, could absolutely help heal that those scars. But unfortunately it takes a lot of time after the damage has already been done. So yeah, you want to choose your words carefully, and teach, and correct with love and encouragement rather than harsh words and put downs, and that's all I have on that one too.
Thank you. That was very important to share. Thank you very much.
My name is Cliff, and the power of words, absolutely. Words have an incredible amount of power. Their tongue is sharper than any two-edged sword. For whether we can instill life in somebody, or we can cut somebody down and kill them. Just with our words. As Joyce was saying, you definitely kill somebody with those. You never underestimate the incredible power of an immense vocabulary, though. For with it, we can go far way, we can go a long way with just our our words, and how I say words is very important as well. If I tell you, I love you, if I say, whatever, I love you, it's not going to really mean too much. But if I tell you face to face, hey, I love you, it means something totally different. You know what I mean? And somebody can take it completely out of context with what I say and how I say it. With my words, I want to be able to edify and bring people up rather than put them down. And like Joyce was saying about the scar tissue, that you can leave behind when you grow up, or you hear those things instilled in you as a child. How you're no good, or you're never going to be anything, or you're just like your father, and you're never going to amount to anything. Words like that, those are things that stick with you for the rest of your life, that sometimes you can't shake, and whenever you hear them, it's like, kind of hit you, but, and again, that's if you want to instill positive in somebody, just tell them they're doing a good job. If you're at work or anything like that, you see somebody trying their best, they're not the good, the best at what they do. Hey man, good job. You have no clue what the power of just that can bring to somebody in their life, and bring, it might save their day, or their job. But I think it's just very important to choose what you say. I haven't always been the best at when it comes to words, because I'm one of those guys who can cut you down with my tongue pretty good and pretty fast. I grew up around 6 sisters, so I'm pretty fast with the tongue when it comes to that. And I have to be cognizant all the time of the words that come out of my mouth, because I could really do some damage and never be able to, no matter what amends I try to make, no matter what I say to you, or how sorry I am, or what can I do, can I mow your lawn, can I clean your house, can I give you some money? No, dude, you said this to me, and that's it. So I have to be very careful. So I think that's all I have on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, hello, I'm Lauren. Yeah, I think Cliff kind of touched base on it. As a child, we raise these children to grow up to be these strong, adults, and yet you hear parents all the time telling their children, no, don't do this, no, don't do that. You're not allowed to do cheerleading because you'll break your neck. You're not allowed to go out and play sports because you'll do this or do that. And you raise your children to be afraid of everything. They're afraid to go outside. They're afraid to go play. They're afraid to, just enjoy life, to be young. I think it's very important that we empower them to do whatever they want. I try to tell my children all the time, you can be whatever you want. I don't care if you flip burgers. I don't care if you're the next president. I don't care what you do in life, just as long as you're happy. And growing up, it was always in my family. Unfortunately, I didn't have a close relationship with my parents, and we would constantly go at it, constantly putting each other down. And it's like now I've learned to not do that with my children, because it made such an impact on me growing up that I could have gone one way or I could have gone the other. And thankfully, I went down a path and turned my life around. Whereas I could have grown up and thought I was nothing. I could be on the streets. I could be doing all kinds of crazy stuff because my parents weren't able to be around to instill in me the proper tools to believe in myself. Instead, I grew up thinking that I wasn't good enough or wasn't loved or wasn't this or wasn't that. And it's all because I don't have someone telling me in words that, hey, you're worth something. Hey, you're a good kid. Hey, you can do whatever you want in life. And so I think just from the time that children are born, we have to give them that background. We have to give them that cement, that stone. We have to support them and uplift them and show them that, that we are capable of anything, and never beat them down. Don't tell them no all the time. Don't tell them, that, oh my gosh, you got a C on your report card, you're horrible. It's a grade. A grade doesn't mean anything. A piece of paper doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you're good, bad, indifferent. It's just a piece of paper. A child is a child, and a child is beautiful, and they need to be believed in. And I think that's about all I have on that subject.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll speak, but I'm not sitting. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Bridget. Very quickly, just my idea on the topic is words are sound. Sound creates, and sound is third dimension. So anything you say is manifested here now. And so especially certain words like Om, it takes on some sort of magnitude of creation. So the way you say it with the intensity that you say it is very powerful. Whether it be negative, positive, you always have to watch your intention with the power that you say it, with your intention, the way that you say it, who it's intended towards. It takes on a certain sort of character, sort of creation. So you have to be careful with that. You're always creating whenever you put sound out there. In the third dimension, in this world, in the physical world, you're creating with your sound, with your words. So you have to be responsible. And so remember that. Always keep them positive, because when you put words out there, like any sort of mantra, you're creating your world. You can create a negative world or you can create a positive one. So it's up to you. Be responsible. And so always keep it positive. So that's my take on it. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yes, Bridget summed that up very well, that yes, indeed, the power of our words, and I think everybody here brought in such a beautiful point of view to this. But yeah, we can start wars with our words, we can sing our child to sleep with our words, we can be great orators, we can be lawyers with our words. Our words are very powerful. So please remember that as you are deciding what to do in your life and deciding how to teach and how to love and learn. Really pay attention to what words and what their vibrations are. Which brings us to self-effort. What is self-effort? Is that, and how far do we go with self-effort to get something done? There's pushing versus self-effort, power versus force. So, maybe you can share what self-effort is, or maybe share an instance where you pushed something and it didn't come out to your liking because you were pushing it too hard, or you can share an experience where you let go and amazing things happened. You can share however you like.
I never heard the term self-effort before. So this is new to me. So self-effort sounds like, effort means to give it, to try something, to put force or power behind it. Self means do it yourself. So you're doing your own lifting, I guess, is what, I'll give it that. Okay, I'm doing my own lifting. So you do have to, in my situations, I do both ways. When you said, do you push too hard and nothing happens, and then you just let things go. Self-effort in a lot of things in sports or in exercising, you do have to put forth your own effort. You're not going to get stronger without putting more force in than you normally did before that. And you put additional force on it until you can't do it anymore. And then you do a little bit more after that. That's self-effort. And then when it comes to theoretical things, relationships, or trying to change someone's mind, sometimes too much force does the opposite. You put force forward, something else has to come back to counteract that. So depending on what you are looking to get, if you're doing it for yourself, I think you can't really push yourself too hard because you are your own person, and you can keep building yourself up by creating more force and being stronger that way. But when you project that force out to other people, they may not be ready for that amount of force you're giving to them, and the blowback can be just as devastating or counteract anything you're trying to get done. At that point, you have to learn how to draw it back and to receive energy versus giving the energy, because sometimes you actually are in the need for some positive energy from somewhere else, a different source. So you might want to be looking for ways to get energy versus giving energy when it comes to trying to get conversation or effort through a third party or other people. So self-effort can be a positive thing when it works internally. Other times you need to pull in and not have so much effort on it, and just be open to what else is out there in the world, and be receptive to the changes that are around you, and use that as your energy. So that's as close as I can get to self-effort.
Okay.
For me, self-effort, to simplify things, in my mind, is every day, basically, we learn, we grow. Tools are given to us, whether it's through our learning experiences, advice from friends, epiphanies, and we have to gather this information and then put it to use to better ourselves. Put the effort into wanting to better ourselves, because nobody's going to have us do that for us. It's all our own effort to do so. And as far as force goes, I think if you're not ready to accept what's given to you, yet you're you know you need to work on this, but you're not ready to really accept it, understand it, and put it to use in your life, then absolutely it's going to have a negative effect. You're gonna start resenting what you're learning. You're gonna resent what you hear. You're gonna resent the lessons. Period. So any kind of self-improvement is self-effort.
Thank you. Awesome.
Say my name again?
Yeah.
Hi. I'm Cliff.
Hi, Cliff.
Hope you're laughing on the radio. I like this guy. Never mind. Anyway. Yeah, I'm a legend in my own mind. Self-effort, that's I've never heard of that either. I've never heard of the term self-effort, but I can definitely relate. with my own self-will, which is pretty much my self-effort. You know, if it's Cliff's will or Cliff's self-effort, normally it's just good for me, you know what I mean? But if it's and this is just my own experience, my own opinion, but if it's God's self-effort, if it's God's will, normally it's good for everybody else, you know. And that's what I really think about that. You know, of course I have to be able to excel in certain things to be able to have my own self-effort, like Jeff mentioned, you know, working out, you know what I mean? If I don't put in the effort, I'm not going to get results done, you know. If I don't study for a test, you know what I mean? Put in the effort to pass the test, probably not gonna pass it, you know. But there becomes a point when in my own personal life where I've so tried to exert my self-effort, exert myself, and exert my everything that I have to make something work that was never supposed to work, to create something that was never supposed to be created, and I'm fighting and battling against basically, in my opinion, you know, God's will for my life. You know what I mean? I'm going against forces of nature. I'm going against the spirit of the universe who dictates where I need to go and what I need to do, because I want to run my life on my self-will and my self-effort, you know. And I can mess some things up doing it that way, you know, because I want to stay blind and, or I can, stay blind to the fact that something else is supposed to be guiding me and leading me, not me. And when it's me doing all my self-effort and pushing, I get resentful towards you. I get resentful toward my family, because don't you see, I'm running the show here, and nothing's going my way, and I act like a big baby, and I throw a fit in a tantrum as a almost 30-year-old man, you know, when I don't get my way because I'm running on self, and I'm stuck in self, and nobody sees it but me because I'm all in self, you know. But it's at the moment when I decide to turn that force and my will and myself over to something greater than myself, do I start to see results. Then you start to narrow out a little bit. The road isn't so bumpy, and things start to become more clear and more clear. And all of a sudden I can see you, and we're on the same playing field now. We're not on different teams. We're both on the same field, and we're after the same goal, which is basically to live one day in this life to do goods for God's kids, you know, one day at a time. So that's what I have on that.
Terrific.
Okay, so my take on it, you mentioned getting into things and just kind of, I'm going to say, what's the right word for it? Surrendering. I have learned that my own will is sometimes I'm very bullheaded. I'm very opinionated, and I think I can do whatever I want. And I've learned, especially recently, that if I just surrender to a power greater than myself, that everything goes as it's supposed to. And as I've come to do that, everything's fallen into place. I had, I had to go to court recently against my children's fathers, and I've shown them nothing but love, respect, done everything that they told me to do. And the other day I get a text that says, "You really changed." Because I'm not constantly trying to battle them anymore. I'm not constantly trying to prove, oh, I'm right, this is that's my ego. And my opinion doesn't matter, their opinion doesn't matter. It's just our egos getting hurt and trying to fight each other. And so when we're surrendering and just giving love, then what are they going to do? They can't continue to fight you anymore. They got to give in. You know, it's pointless to constantly battle. I've learned that my own will it's not going anywhere. If I put my faith and my trust in God or divine or whatever we call it, and I just let it ride out, wherever it takes me is a lot better than where I had planned to go. So that's what I get from it. And mic over.
I love what Lauren said, because surrender is so powerful. not surrendering to the situation, but surrendering to a higher power. But in terms of, I guess the what was your original
Self-effort?
Self-effort. So basically, to me, that means empowerment. So when you have empowerment, or you become, it's this or is this momentum, I guess you could say. So you put self-effort in, which really, when you think of self, you've got different levels of self, and ultimately you're helping the one. We're all connected. So for me, self-effort is connected. It's basically, empowering the whole. Versus force, is that what, self-effort versus force, I guess, which is more of a pulling. So it's a push-pull type thing. So force is more of a pull type thing. You're fighting the system. So one is enabling or helping the whole system, and one is fighting against it. So, yep.
Yeah, there's a balance that has to be found between self-effort and fluidity and flowing with what's going on in your life. Obviously, if you want something to happen, if you want to start a new business, or you want to learn a skill, or whatever it may be, you can't just expect it to fall in your lap. You have to do something to take steps to make that occur. However, we can get too overzealous about something and push and push. Maybe we've had an idea and we think it's great, but maybe it's not right for that time, and it's going to be right in a month, or maybe a year, or maybe never. I think that's what happens when we push. If we get too wrapped up in desire for something, whether it be enlightenment, or a new car, or a new job, or whatever it might be, if we are able to take the power of our words and our intent and say, yes, we want to create this thing, yet there is energy that we have to allow to flow in to make that happen, and we can't always force things to happen. So that sort of brings us to a question of fate. Do you believe in fate, or do you believe you create what happens? Do you think stuff is predestined for you, or can you change your destiny?
Destiny. I don't believe that anybody has my destiny in their hands yet. I've always felt that I've created everything that I've gotten, good or bad, in life. From religion, they're going to tell you that you can go to heaven and go to hell. So in other words, even in most religions, they tell you you have that choice to make. No one dictates where you are. The only fate that you probably have is death and taxes, but those are things that, again, you can still control how much and when that happens. So, and if I'm a puppet on a string, then the puppeteer's a jokester. So I don't think they come up with what's gone through my life or anybody else's life that's been predestined. I've never known anybody that felt that way. If they do, then why even bother being here? If your whole life is predetermined to do everything you've gone through, then you predetermined a lot of your future in your past, and your present now was dictated what you did in the past. And anything you want to do down the line is based on what you do now. So if you choose to create great in your life and go a certain direction, you'll get there. If you are always down on yourself, think you'll never get anything, then that's exactly what you get. You do get what you ask for. So just like a genie in a bottle, your life is, you rub that lamp, and if you ask for something and you work towards it, you'll get it. And if you say, I'm just going to rub this lamp, I hope this happens, hope doesn't get you anywhere. I want it to happen, and you will get there. So, was it the end of Planet of the Apes where he finds the statue and he sees the Statue of Liberty, and he takes off on the horse, and the apes were going to chase him. They go, let him go. And he goes, what is he going to find? And I thought at the end he said his destiny. If I'm not mistaken, it was something similar to that. In that case, he's going to find what he was looking for. And that's why he went off in that way. So that was just, when I heard that destiny, I had to say that. So,
Cool.
Thanks.
My daughter and I had this discussion the other day. She goes, everything we do is predetermined. I said, no, it's not. I said, maybe the end result, maybe the overall lessons, but how we get there, not necessarily. I think life is more like a river with many tributaries. And we're going to cross here, we're going to choose door number 1 or door number 6 or whatever, we're on the Price is Right, what have you. And eventually we're going to cross back over into that river, and eventually we're going to spill out into the ocean of whatever it was we were meant to do overall. For me personally, it's been a struggle because I'm clueless, absolutely clueless. Some people have a direction that they at least want to follow, and I'm just all over the map. So as far as fate goes, I think that there are some things dotted in along the way. I think more in the line of synchronicity, possibly, that shows you that maybe you are following the river or what have you, basically along where you're going pretty much the right direction, even though it might have been a different way to get there. Little reminders, basically, that you're still headed the right way. I don't believe that. I believe that there's things that are thrown in our lives that are just meant to completely shake us up. There's always a I'm at a loss for the word there. Just basically a monkey wrench. A rag in the gears, that's gonna force us to choose the direction that we're going. But yeah, I do agree that overall that perhaps we do have the end result that we're looking for, possibly predetermined prior to coming here. There's no way to really know. I'm kind of curious myself to find out after this is all over what was really supposed to go down here, because I'm really confused.
Thank you for your honesty. Yes, so many of us feel that way.
Right. Fate and destiny. I think that they both go hand in hand. I believe it's my fate, obviously, to still be alive today. From being on the operating table, like 2-3 times in my life, supposed to be dead. You know what I mean? I'm still here for a reason. So my fate is still to be alive, I think. As far as my destiny, the destiny is, they say the journey's not in the, the journey's not in the trip, it's in the destiny. I don't know what it says. I've seen it on some bathroom wall or something.
Love it.
It's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
It's about the journey.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
She's been to a bathroom.
It's in my head, but it was just jumbled around a little bit.
As long as it wasn't next to my number 1 goal.
So my destiny, is in the long run. I believe that as a child, of course, we're raised to. Our destination is our destiny is being determined when we're children. And how we shape our young men and our young women, and the values that we instill to him or her. If I grew up in a very abusive family. I grew up in a family where men were always hitting women. There was always drinking. There was always drugs. You would think my destiny would be to be a crackhead out in the streets. Robbing people, and from growing up in the projects, you would think that would be my destiny. You're not going anywhere in life. But my destiny today, you know, I believe that I have had a strong hand in creating, you know, because like Joyce was mentioned, you know, we go through certain things that is meant to shake us up. It's meant to try our faith. It's meant to test us, and it's meant to see if we're going to stand up above it, or we're going to fall up against it. You know what I mean? If we're going to just fall under. And I've been through a lot of trying things, as probably we all have. But none of those things have ever stopped me. I've never stayed down. You know what I mean? And that's, I believe, something way higher than me, way higher than the heavens or earth or the stars or the moons, allows me to still be here and be able to fight, and gives me the strength to be able to do so, you know, on a day-to-day basis. You know, my destiny today, you know, I'm here talking on a live radio show. That's people probably wouldn't think that, you know. And I go to work every single day, you know, from being a recovered, you know, drug addict. I got a job that I've had for 2 years, you know, and I've been sober for quite some time, and life just keeps getting better, you know, and my destiny is still yet to be determined, but the journey is to get to that destination is beyond my belief right now, you know what I mean, beyond my wildest dreams. Yeah, that's what I have on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Okay, so to let's see, where do I go from this? Okay, so in the past, I kick and scream and say, why me? Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? And I've learned that, yeah, we might have actually predetermined our life, or we've been up there saying, hey, I want to try this out in this lifetime. When I come back, I'm going to put myself through this, or I don't think I learned enough about this, so I'm going to put myself through this trial. But I think here and now, everything that happens to us is our own doing. We cause all of it, from the car accident to the bad relationship. However we feel internally, everyone is a reflection of ourselves. So versus saying, you know, that person's horrible, that person did this to me, no, you need to take a look on the inside at yourself and fix what's going on with you. Because once you figure out what's wrong with you, everything else around you just shifts dramatically. Like they say, if it isn't bliss, it isn't you. I think that whatever we do now is obviously going to predetermine our future. So if we just focus on the positive, no matter what happens, I mean, it starts to change around you. You can get served with court documents and you can smile 2 minutes later. I did that, literally. I just was happy as could be right after being served. I think it's all how you look at life, and if you just put a positive outlook on everything, nothing's going to affect you, and it just gets better. I think that, yeah, to some extent we did choose this life. We did choose to come back and, you know, put ourselves through some things, or try to go through this, or but I also think that whatever we decide to do now is going to determine our future, and a lot of it is we choose our own destiny by our actions, and by how we treat people, and by how we look at ourselves and treat ourselves. Alcohol, drugs, smoking, all that is just destroying our body, and that's going to determine your destiny down to the day you die. So I think you got to take care of your temple, and just be grateful for the life that you have.
Yes.
Okay, I could go on quite a tangent on this subject, but for me it's it's neither or both. Basically, I believe in the superconscious, the subconscious, and the conscious. So the superconscious is tied into the net, which is the one, is the Christ consciousness is all of us, which is, you know, you can't have the ego desire, which is the, you know, which is, it would be, you know, whether it's predetermined or whatever, it's still ego, right? It's still you determining something in your life, whether it's fate, it's depending on you. So you can't have that in the superconscious because it affects the oneness, the superconscious, the Christ consciousness. So in that respect, if you do it, it kind of has to, it's so hard to explain, but it's like a webbing type thing. So you have to take that into account. It's almost like it's so interconnected that in that realm, it's like quantum physics. You just can't go there. But on the subconscious level, that's where you're affected by your surroundings. So maybe you place yourself in these surroundings to be affected, to perceive certain things so that you absorb them, so that, it affects you on a subconscious level. So you're able to process it on a conscious level so that you can react to it. So in that terms, fate or what, fate, determination, whatever, I just think it in terms of like quantum physics, you can't even go there. It's just because you have the superconscious, which is like God, the subconscious, which is literally like what you is basically making your reality, and your conscious, which is bringing it into reality. So in that terms, I think it's constantly happening, and you die. I mean, it's almost like whenever you come to any sort of decision in life, they say you die 1,000 deaths in the process.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if whoever was here the last time, or I guess two times ago, was it Mike? I guess he was talking about the multiverse. If you take that into account, where does fate play into that? Where does, how is that predetermined? And you have to decide on one reality in that moment. And so for me, it's so far beyond that, where it has to collapse into that one moment, right here, right now. And so it's just so complicated that I just don't think it fits into that answer, yes or no, black or white. So that's that's my answer.
Yes, I'm sticking to it.
And that's right.
Destiny.
That's my yes or no answer.
Well, it is said that we do have free will, and so when we choose, you've heard The Secret, the law of attraction, all of these things, we create our reality. Bridget mentioned earlier, the power of sound creates things. In the Bible, it said in the beginning there was the Word. So, yes, did we set this up before we came and we're here on a mission, or do we do this in every moment? Is it constantly changing? Those are decisions for you to make and for you to experience. But by hearing these different points of view, it may help you to process some of those questions that may be on your mind, or maybe you never even thought of it. So now you are. So I want to thank everyone for coming to the 100th Monkey Experiment. The 100th Monkey Experiment, again, is a philosophical, metaphysical reality show. And we bring different topics each week to expand our minds and help us grow and share and discuss ideas. We all want freedom and peace for the most part. I don't think I've met anybody who doesn't want those qualities in life. So be the example, be the 100th monkey, be the change in the world, be the change that you want. Make this world the reality that you want it to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank you.